Marvel's back in the theaters, y'all. Talking about the long-awaited Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings. It's time to talk about it. Let's go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Klepcx FM, brought to you by CritiX.com, a place where we talk about movies, television, and pop culture. And if you're into that kind of thing, make sure you hit the subscribe key and that notification bell so you can be up to speed about everything that I talk about here. Now, it's time, y'all. It's time to find out or hear from me whether I thought Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, was worth all the hype. Before I do, though, before I get into what I thought about this film, let's talk about what Shang-Chi is, or better yet, who is Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi is a Marvel Comics character created in 1973. I believe he was in the special Marvel edition number 15. That was his first appearance. Who went on to do his own series in the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu and Masters of Kung Fu comic book series. Now, fast forward to where we are in time now. We are now in the MCU version of this character. There have been many iterations of this character throughout comic book history, and even in more recent times, I think about 2018 and going forth. Now, in the MCU version, we now have a Shang-Chi, which is well needed because representation is very important. And now, the Asian community now get to feel what a lot of the Black American community have felt and the African American community felt when we got Black Panther with Shang-Chi. Now, Shang-Chi stars Simu Lee, who a lot of you will remember from Kim's Convenience, which is now on Netflix, a wonderful, hilarious Canadian series, sitcom about an Asian Canadian family who owns a convenience store. And it is very, very, very hilarious, you guys. You can go. It is now canceled. There are no more seasons of this, but it is currently on Netflix, and it's a very, very funny show. You guys should check it out. So Simu Lee is from that, and then we have Awkwafina, who a lot of us know from being in Ocean's 8. Ocean's 8. She has her own series now on Comedy Central called Nora from I can't remember. I know it's New York, but I know it's someplace in New York. But no, I just call it Nora because her real name is Nora, but she goes by Awkwafina, and she's portraying a very funny version of her life in this series, and it's very funny. It's on season 2 right now. You guys should check that out as well. Who else is in this? Michelle Yeoh from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is in this, and of course the great Tony Chiu, who. Before I don't want to talk about what he does. Like he does his thing, but we'll get into all of that when we talk about it. Now, the story follows Shang-Chi, who for like 10 years of some sort within the MCU. So we're going back to '96, which would probably bring us around the time that Ant-Man, Hank Pym had quit S.H.I.E.L.D. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm getting those timelines correctly, I could have sworn that happened around that time. And also was around the time, 96. Why do I feel like there was another time? We'll get into that. But yeah, so he was trained by his father, who to be a deadly assassin, and then sent on a journey to fulfill his destiny, so to speak, and ended up going into hiding for over 10 years. And then his father came to collect, and all the action starts, and then he must decide whether he wants to follow in his father's footsteps or be his own man, and maybe, possibly, become some sort of a Avenger, maybe? Who knows? But that's not ever alluded to, but I'm just putting it out there. So what did I think about this? Marvel's take on the Asian superhero known as Shang-Chi. This thing's very ambitious, y'all. I will say this. Going forth, from now on, I'm going to do my best to avoid possible spoiler or non-spoiler reviews from other channels like myself. I follow a few of them, and it's because out of the love of the culture and what we do, and there are some out there that are just really, really damn good, that I really, really love to watch, and I enjoy their conversation, and I love how they open up to us. And so I'm still a fan at heart. I do this And, I'm on my own path, but I'm also a fan first. I'm going to do my best to stay away from those because there was a lot of positive hype about this movie. Now, that's not saying that this movie is not good, because this movie is pretty damn good. But there are a lot of people, certain people, who are like overly, really hyping this movie. So when I went into it, I was a little bit more excited than I walked out. Now, let me explain, because I'm not saying this movie's bad. Yo, this movie is dope as fuck. It's dope. It's good. It's entertaining. But when you are a Marvel fan or an MCU fan, and you're already 26 movies? Is this 25 or 26? I don't even remember at this point. When you're this far in of these movies, you have your own kind of expectations and things that you're expecting or would, hope do or don't happen. So you have your own things to deal with. It's always good to avoid anyone else's thoughts. So sometimes it's cool to hear somebody just say a quick, I enjoyed it, it was fun, that was it. But then when people are like championing and just overly hyping, you kind of go into this thing all giddy like, oh my God. So that kind of ruined it for me, that portion of it. But the movie is phenomenal. It's good. It's shot well. The acting is great. The storylines are great. The best thing about this movie is the way that Marvel takes something new and just weaves it all into the universe the way that you would not have hoped or expected. There are a lot of surprises, guys. A lot of surprise cameos, a lot of surprise. Like, there's just more things in this thing that you were probably not expecting because it's a new character. But then there's some things in there that you're like, yes, I was hoping that happened, and it happened. I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys, because I definitely think that if you go into this, you are going to be very excited with the surprises and the things that happen in this movie, because Marvel knows how to clean up their messes and they know how to make things work. They're just on a roll right now, guys. They're on a path where it's really going to take a fucking truck ramming into Disney Marvel Studios or something, I don't know, to get this thing to not run as well as it's running. There are, in fact, 2 post-credit scenes, and let me tell you about these post-credit scenes before I get out of here, because I'm not going to make this thing lengthy. This is just merely letting you know whether or not I think Shang-Chi is worth the hype. The first post-credit scene connects everything. Well, not everything. It connects some things. It's very, very important. Watch this thing. My only gripe about this thing is that if you pay attention to this thing, it will tell you exactly when Shang-Chi takes place. If you pay attention to all the details. But there is a minor fuck up in this in this post-credit scene, based on knowing when this takes place. And maybe a lot of you will pick it up. I'll talk about it in a non-spoiler review going forth, but I picked up on it. I was like, well, if this is supposed to be happening then, how is someone such and such looking the way they look? That's all I'm going to say. The second post-credit scene, it pretty much, it sets things up, but we're not there yet. You know what I mean? Like, that's my, because people right now, we have our mindset on something else that's going on in the MCU. A lot of other things, a lot of other characters, like Kang possibly, or, things like that. So when you see the second post-credit scene, it's worthy, it's cool, but you'll be like, oh, okay, cool. All right, great. We'll get there when we get there, type deal. But definitely stay. You don't want to miss anything. You never want to miss any post-credit scenes when it comes to Marvel. Never. So again, in short, was this thing worth it? I think it's a brilliant movie. I think it's dope. I think it's great for the Asian community. I think Simu Liu murders it. Awkwafina is hilarious in this thing. She's great comic relief. The way they tie things into the previous MCU and the future MCU was awesome. But to me, it was just a really good Marvel movie. Better than Black Widow, for sure. but it was a good Marvel movie. And I just leave it at that. Like I liked it, but I didn't walk out of there like how I felt when I saw Infinity War. I didn't walk out of there like how I felt during Endgame. I definitely didn't walk out of there like I felt with Winter Soldier or and I mean that's all I can say, guys. Like, it's a great film. Trust me, you're gonna have a fucking great time. You're gonna have a great time, but please go in with your own expectations. Do not allow the internet to hype you or overhype you, because it's good. It's a fucking good Marvel movie, like they all are, or like most of them are, I should say. So yeah, guys, you guys let me know. Did you see Shang-Chi? What did you think? Are you excited for more? We will get into a more spoiler-ish conversation later over the week, like past the weekend. Give people time to see it, and then we'll convene and talk about it. But other than that, guys, that's all I gotta say. Like, comment, share. Make sure you subscribe. And for more movie news, television news, pop culture, and my podcast, Critics Talk, make sure you guys check out wearecritics.com. And I will talk to you all later. Peace.